they became perpetrators. So I truly appreciate the opportunity of being here. And Rachel Fazino is Director of Training and Education that we're schools, and we have Anna, that's actually one of our interns from BU. So we're really excited to be here with you guys. Thank you.
A friend of mine was like, they went on like the newspaper, and it named all the criminals. You'll embarrass some of those teenagers that are doing the crime to put them all in the Boston Globe every time they commit a crime. And let them know that everybody's watching, so now you're known. You know, so that's just popped in my head, and I just thought about that, because our community, we only expose what they want to expose, and I blame that on the media, because if the crime happens, if you notice I would say maybe a lot of you guys in here that have had, I know of mine, friends and family that have been murdered, they don't get publicity. It doesn't, let it be South Boston, it's all over the news for days and days and days, and people are donating, people are helping them. So I think there should be, we really need to also make it part of public safety that the media should be really needs to control the media and what they're showing our kids too. Because if you realize that I have a young daughter, a lot of people don't know my children, but she's 11 years old and she's getting on Twitter, on YouTube and all these social media and twerking. So I think we really need to also look at the fact that our social media and what we're putting out there is also affecting our children. Yeah, but I mean, maybe we need to educate, make that part of our curriculum to educate our kids in our schools.
I think that the issue is have like a Stop the Violence t-shirt or something, like have a march or something. And not that, but building programs, you know what I'm saying? Like education, because like I said, my job now is a Tobin, and that's all I do is cleaning. And why it's a job, it's a good job for me, because it avoids all the issues on the streets. Like he was saying about school, education, and church, you have to have that. Because my family go to church every Sunday, and they have a relationship with God. I'm talking about where you have to sit with yourself sometimes, and you don't need a lot of people. Sometimes you got to sit with yourself, because God knows my heart. Like, you know, it's not getting better. Like, and I'm sharing that because, like, he was sharing about how to help this community. Like, with these jobs, like for example, when tomorrow comes, I'm going to be clean. So I already know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Then Sunday I go to church because my family operation. And building, like, community coming together and about these jobs and programs. That's what, if you think, but that's what it's about. And about how to get education and how to work with these programs. And that's all I want to say.
I'm Colwell, and I run an organization called We Talk. It's a youth development organization that focuses on prevention. And we are 34 years old. So how does a nonprofit stay in Roxbury for 34 years? It stayed in Roxbury because it was a program that was really developed under the initiative of the young people that I worked with at Harvard Street Neighborhood Health Center. And it has been, we originally started out with teen pregnancy, but when we were working with the young people, they brought a whole litany of other things. So we do just about everything there is now, you know, that adolescents think that it is necessary for them to survive in this community. The problem that we have, the program as well, the kids still come, they still attend, and we try to keep the program moving, but the funding is really, really bad. And these are young people who is a peer group who bring together issues, put them in the form of a workshop, and they also develop skits, and they're taught to do the workshops and the skits, and they go out to like schools, churches, housing development, communities, etc., to do that. But a lot of that, you know, we still have the young people coming, but it's really like not as big as it once was. But my motivation is that the kids still come, that they still like We Talk, that they still think it's help, and they come through all kinds of weather, you know.
Green, and I live in Newton, and what I hear loud and clear at this evening is the expression of the frustration of people who are doing the work in the community, who are impacted by violence on an everyday basis, and who do not get the support in terms of the funding they need. And as a member of the funding community who's involved in a number of groups and collaboratives working to understand and address the issue of youth violence prevention, I've become more and more aware of the barriers that exist between these communities, both the communities who are impacted by the violence and who are working to try to address it that sometimes dictate who gets the funding, and to set a tone of inclusion where we can all come together and work more effectively and cooperatively. I also want to draw people's attention to a conference happening in Cambridge in a couple of weeks where we're going to start discussing these and to learn the language for us all to have these conversations. And we're going to be beginning a discussion about the impact of trauma exposure on communities, naming how race and ethnicity impact service delivery in our city, and identifying and challenging barriers to providing culturally responsive care. And I've left some flyers up in front, and there's scholarships available. And thanks for your time.
My name is Mary Franklin, and I am a woman survivor of homicide. I lost my husband, Melvin Bernard Franklin, 17 years ago. His case is still unsolved today. But what I'm here to just briefly talk about is, we can talk all day about crime prevention, but people are human. They're going to do sin. They're going to do what they do. While we're in the midst of trying to, stop crime, and that is a good thing, it's great, we need to do that, there is a society, there is a group of women, and they're called Women Survivors of Homicide. They are not being acknowledged. They are not being noticed. What I'm finding is that media and society or whoever only connect women survivors of homicide with mothers who have lost their sons. There is a total 1,000 of women who are survivors and don't understand that they are survivors. A woman survivor is a woman who has lost someone to homicide, regardless to the fact whether it was her child, in my case, my husband, my daughter's case, her father, my sister's case, her brother-in-law. We have to recognize all of these women. These women are sitting home. They don't understand why they're depressed. They don't understand why they have these impacts, because they feel that, oh, I am not a survivor. What is going on after this person got murdered? After 17 years, for me, I had to finally say to myself, listen, I can't do this any longer. I lied to my friends, I lied to my church, I lied to my children, but mainly I lied to myself. I needed help. I was messed up. I was going through all these impacts, and there were no services. Not services for my children, not services to bury my husband, not services for those things. I needed services for me as a woman. That's what I needed. And if I needed it, there has to be thousands and thousands of other survivors who need the same thing, and they're confused and don't understand who they are. So what I did, within less than a year, I founded a program in my husband's name called Melvin's Mission, supporting women survivors of homicide. It's a full-day program. It's never been done anywhere in the United States. It's original. It's new. We're in our second session. We just started today. It's 8 weeks. The women graduate. It's 3 days a week. It's 3 hours a day. It gets them out to bed. We deal with self-esteem. We deal with empowerment. We deal with you can live after death. Again, it is about the woman. So I have pamphlets here. If I can leave a few of them. This is a subject we've got to pay attention to. One more thing. Most families in the inner city, women are raising, they're the heads of the household. How many of these women are survivors of homicide? You want to fix the streets and you want to do all these great things in school and stuff. If you don't take care of these mothers who are suffering with the impacts of homicide, they're not taking time out and going up to their schools and dealing with these kids and stuff. They're in the bed. They don't feel like it. They've lost somebody to violent crime and feel alone. So we've got to deal with these women. Because if you won't do it, I'm definitely going to do it. I haven't asked for any money. I do this with my own income, and I see the fruit of it, and it works. But I need help, and you guys need to create more of these programs for these women. We've got to do better.